Well, hello again. I have our science book open and I'm in a lesson that I enjoy. I love traveling and I love seeing different places because they look different than the beautiful state of Wisconsin that we live in. I love traveling to the mountains and just seeing different kinds of landscapes and the ocean. I just love it. I love different and experiencing those things. So today I am on the landforms lesson in your science book, which is on C52. So if you didn't already dig out your book and get ready to follow along, please pause and do that. Some keywords in this lesson are landform, mountain, valley, sand dune, plain, and river. And I'll read our get ready box here. What is Earth's surface like where you live? Are there mountains or hills? Is the land very flat? Maybe you live where there are lots of lakes or rivers. Maybe you live near a desert. Earth's surface has many different features. How do you think these features are alike? And how are they different? So, as I'm thinking about Wisconsin, I know that we aren't in the mountains. We do have some hills, and we are not in the desert, but we do have plenty of lakes and rivers. We do get plenty of rain, and so we live in a very green state with many trees. And it's a beautiful place to live. Truly, it is. And so, hats off to living in Wisconsin. Now, there's an explore activity here, which is asking you to look at some of these pictures. You can go ahead and read through this on your own if you'd like. I'm going to keep moving for today. This really isn't an activity as much as it just is comparing and contrasting these pictures. So I'm going to turn to the good stuff, and we are going to spend some time with landforms this week, and I do have a project that is going to use information on the pages that I have open right now. So C54 and C55 will become important to us this week. But today we're just going to get through the material and read through it. So the main idea here is that the Earth's surface has many features. What are the features of Earth's surface? A landform is a feature of Earth's surface. Different bodies of water cover large parts of Earth too. So we have landforms and then we have different kinds of water features. Now, this is a wonderful diagram and you'll see numbers all over it. There are green numbers and there are blue numbers. The green numbers are picturing are numbered to show you different landforms on Earth, and the blue stands for water. So those are showing you the Earth's water features. So over on this side, you can see it's almost like a vocabulary section of words and their definitions. So number one, and here it is on the diagram, so it kind of shows you an example of what they look like, mountains. Mountains are the highest landform. Mountains often have steep sides and pointed tops. Then number two, hills. They are, of course, lower than mountains. They are shorter and rounder than mountains. A plateau. Where is it? Over in the middle. This is a plateau. A plateau is flat land with steep sides. It is higher than the land around it, so kind of like a table. Mesas are flat-topped hills or mountains. So how are they different? So here we have a plateau, and over here must be just this little, like a table up here, is called a mesa. They're similar, plateaus and mesas, aren't they? Number five, a valley is lowland between hills or mountains. Water often rushes down into the valleys. And here is an example of a valley. And because water runs down, it's going to, that's where you're going to find your rivers in the lower spots. A canyon, number six, is a deep, narrow valley with steep sides. Canyons often have rivers at the bottom. So here is another, this is a canyon, which you could say was similar to a valley, except the sides are so steep. So this part you kind of call the canyon, like the Grand Canyon. Very, very deep with deep down in to get to the bottom. And over time, water has carved out this path. And here there isn't a whole lot of water left running through there, but at one time water had its way here, and that's why you end up with the land being carved out like that. Sand dunes are mounds of windblown sand, and often you'll find sand dunes along the coast. When I've been to the ocean, you find a lot of sand there, and sometimes there are sand hills kind of set further back, not right at the shore, but those are hills of sand. And the plains, wide flatlands. We in the United States have some states that are very flat, like Kansas and Nebraska, Iowa, very much flat land. They don't have a lot of forests. They don't have hills. It's just flat. They're great for farming crops because it's easy to farm a flat field, right? So that is that. Now, moving on to some water features. Rivers, of course, large streams of water that flow across the land, and we already kind of looked at some of those. Rivers are flowing water. If you hop in a boat on a river, you're going to be carried down the river in the direction that the river current is heading. A lake is a body of water with land all around it, completely surrounded. The lakes make great places to go fishing, maybe swimming at the beaches and such. People like to build their homes along lakes and have access to the water. Oceans are very large bodies of salt water. They cover about 3/4 of Earth's surface. So another place I love to visit. We don't have oceans touching Wisconsin at all. So you have to travel quite a ways to get to an ocean, but salty water. I think we talked about that earlier this year, the minerals that settle and kind of stay and get carried into the ocean and stay there. So the result is that the water is salty, and it's such a big body of water that the waves are strong, and they come crashing into the shore. The coast is where the ocean meets the land. You don't really call a lakeside beach a coast, but you call the coasts where the ocean and the land meets. A bay is part of a lake or ocean that extends into the land. So here's a picture of a bay. So if you were drawing a picture of a bay, you'd need like a bigger area of water, and then like a little piece that's almost completely enclosed, but as you can see, it connects to like the ocean. A little bay. It's more protected. I know we talked about this year too at some point. This is a good spot to dock boats and things. You're a little more protected in here. It wouldn't be as windy as it would be out on the ocean, and the water would be calmer in that bay. And finally, glaciers are huge masses of ice that move slowly across the land. There are very few glaciers left in the United States. You can visit Glacier National Park, and there just aren't as many glaciers there because much of it has melted, but it is like a continual moving. You don't see it sliding or anything, but it's just slowly moving, big, deep masses of ice, and that would be a glacier. And you do find them where you're going to see mountains. And glaciers, as they move across land, carry rocks and things with them, of course, and kind of carve out the land. So these are important pages. When we talk tomorrow about your assignment, this page and all of these words, these terms and their definitions, these are going to be what you're going to use to complete that. All right. What is Earth's surface like in the United States? All of the features you just read about can be found in the United States. The map and pictures show some of these features. So there's a picture of a coast. Nearly half of the United States borders an ocean. This is the west coast that is on the Pacific Ocean, where California, Oregon, Washington State are. Mountains, love those Rocky Mountains out here out west. Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, going down south, big Rocky Mountains. The plains between North Dakota and Texas are the Great Plains. Farmers on the Great Plains raise much of the food we eat. So these pictures could be useful to you too with the project that we have coming up. You can see an example of the plains. And here's an example of rivers. Many rivers flow into the Mississippi River. This river empties into the Gulf of Mexico. I know we've talked about this too. The river that starts up here, I believe this is it, and it flows down, and many smaller rivers flow into it. Eventually, it gets down to the Gulf of Mexico and empties in there. All states have small lakes. The Great Lakes are among Earth's largest. This is Lake Superior up here, and here's Lake Michigan. So Wisconsin is fortunate to have Lake Superior and Lake Michigan forming part of our borders. And these are not oceans. They are freshwater lakes, but when you stand on the shoreline of Lake Superior, for example, it almost seems like you're looking at the ocean because they are so big and the waves are pretty strong there. But these are freshwater lakes. So why it matters. Wherever you live, the land affects you. The land on the Great Plains is good for growing grains like corn and wheat. Coasts and lakes are good places to go fishing. If you live on a mountain, you need to be good at climbing. Some places in the United States are very special. Have you ever visited a national park? National parks are places set aside for people to visit and enjoy. And indeed, my family has been able to travel by car. We do road trips when we can and travel to some amazing national parks that are preserved and saved for people to enjoy, to walk the trails and see the beautiful sights. We live in a beautiful country, the United States, and so many different landforms and water features that we can enjoy. So hope you enjoyed this lesson. I will come back tomorrow with some directions for you.